These are my masterstoronto Pickems, which I did using a map elo system which I created, and this is what it looks like. So as you can see, we got the 6 maps in the map pool currently: Ascent, Haven, Icebox, Lotus, Pearl and Split, and each of the 12 teams that are attending masterstoronto. The overall is created by taking the average of the 6 maps. So first of all, I did this elo system based on the elo system that is implemented in chess, and it uses the same principles generally, but the rounds won by each team are included as well. So it's not just who wins which map and gains elo based on that, but it's also based on how many rounds did you actually win. So a 13-0, for example, gives you way more elo and takes away way more elo if you get 13-0 than a 13-11, for example. Since I kinda ran out of time, I couldn't finish the video which explains how I did the elo system in greater detail. So that video will air maybe somewhere along masterstoronto, but probably only after, before stage 2 kicks off. So look forward to it, and I would appreciate it if you would watch it. But what we can already tell from this is that G2 are the big favorites. This is no surprise at all, since they've been dominant all year long. They basically only lost 2 best of series. So that is why there's such a big gap between G2 in first and Gen.G in second. So after Gen.G, who are second by the system, after Fnatic you've got XLG and Team Heretics, who are pretty much head-on. And then RRQ and Sentinels, who are exactly head-on. They've got the same elo rating. After Sentinels you've got MIBR, and then PaperX and BLG, who are really close as well. After BLG you've got TL, and then in last place, with a rating that is far lower than anyone else's, is Wolves. So that is how the overalls of these teams look. So what we can tell from the overall is that if we take the number 1 seeds, G2, Fnatic, XLG and RRQ, out of consideration, the 4 teams that have the highest rating are Gen.G, followed by Team Heretics, then Sentinels, and lastly MIBR, who just about are above PaperX and BLG. So based on this elo system, based on the ratings, the 4 teams that should be advancing are these 4: Gen.G, Team Heretics, Sentinels and MIBR. But let's take a closer look at the 4 already confirmed matches for the Swiss stage, and how their map vetoes might shake out, and which team I think will advance in each of these 4 games. So this is the first match that will be happening in masterstoronto. It's Team Heretics versus PaperX. And as you can tell, with the overall elo rating, Team Heretics is favored over PaperX. I've also added an overall which includes Fracture, which was essentially their overall rating up until the end of stage 1, but Riot Games decided that Fracture should be sacked and Sunset should come in for masterstoronto, which I don't think makes any sense, but that's another topic. So I've also added this overall just to see the comparison of like what their form was like coming into Toronto from stage 1, and then how it should look with Fracture being out, with Sunset obviously being an unknown. So I'm gonna treat it as a 50-50 map essentially in all of the games. So how should the map veto pan out? So first of all, PaperX should obviously ban Pearl. It's the worst map. They have the highest difference there compared to Heretics. It's one of Heretics' better maps, so that's a solid ban for PaperX. So Heretics should ban Lotus since it's PaperX's best map, but it could be that they instead try to ban Split since it's their own worst map. So that might be the angle that they're taking, but I think that they should ban Lotus. The first map pick would be Haven for Heretics. It's their best map. They should 100% take it. It's pretty much a guaranteed win. Now, when it comes to Paper X, they could pick Icebox or Split. These maps look pretty equal in difference, as you can see. Probably they will go for Icebox since they are better on Icebox than they are on Split. But there could obviously be a point behind picking the worst map of your opponent, but I'm gonna go with them picking Icebox. So now the last two map bans will be for Heretics first. It's gonna be easy. They will ban Split since it's obviously the map that Paper X is the best on out of the remaining ones, and it's their own worst map, so that's a gimme. And then for Paper X, let's add Sunset here. Let's pretend this is Sunset, which is a 50-50. Right, which do you ban? Maybe you've prepped something on Ascent, maybe you go with Sunset, which Heretics has been historically good at, so I don't know which route Paper X is gonna go. I would actually say that they should ban Sunset, which should be a 50-50, but Heretics has historically been good on that map, but Paper X has been good on that map as well historically, so it's kind of a coin flip between do they think their prep is better on Sunset or Ascent, and they will and the other one will be the last remaining, and it will actually be pretty much a coin flip who wins that last map. So it might be a close game, but I would still overall predict Heretics to win this one. So the second match is gonna be BLG against Team Liquid, and this is a bit of a questionable one since Nuts will not be playing and they will have a sub. You would assume that that has a big impact since Nuts is their IGL and arguably been their best, or at least one of their best players. So I will still just pretend that Nuts is playing for the sake of this, that there will not be any difference in how good Team Liquid will be on these maps, even though it will most probably not be the case. But as you can tell, the overall is still in favor with BLG, even if Nats were to play. So what would the map veto look like? So first of all, Team Liquid should probably ban out Pearl. It is the best map that BLG has, and it's one of their worst ones. That and Icebox are their two bad maps, so they are for sure gonna ban out one of these two. It's just a question which they think they have more of a shot on, and I think Icebox should be the one that they keep in, and they should ban out Pearl. BLG should ban Split. It's their worst map, and it's one of Team Liquid's best maps. That's pretty much a gimme to ban that, just to avoid playing your worst map in general is nice. So the map that BLG is probably gonna pick is Icebox. They're really good on that map, and TL has not looked great, so it's a great pick for them. They might pick Ascent instead, since Ascent is probably their best map, given that Pearl is banned out, but I would not recommend it to them, since Team Liquid should have a more realistic shot on that map compared to Icebox. So for Team Liquid, it's between Haven and Lotus then, and they are probably gonna pick Lotus since it's their best map overall, and yeah, the difference is also bigger than Lotus, so this one makes more sense than picking a map that you don't actually like playing yourself. The last two bans should be Ascent for Team Liquid, since BLG is really good on Ascent. It's a perfect ban for them. Now, when it comes to BLG, they should ban out Haven, which would leave Sunset as the last map, being a 50-50. So again, we kind of end up with a 50-50 on the last map if things are gonna shake out like this. And that's where you see yet again the problem of Sunset coming in and us not having seen a single game being played on Sunset. So it's kind of impossible to judge which team could win on that map. So yeah, pretty much a 50-50, but since the overall is higher and since Nuts is missing, which I do think will make a big difference, I think BLG is gonna win this one. The third match will be Sentinels against Wolves, and as you can tell, this seems to be the most one-sided match that we have. And yeah, let's get into it real quick. I think it don't really matter which map Wolves is gonna ban. They're probably gonna ban Pearl, since it is Sen's best map. That would be the smartest ban probably. Wolves might ban Ascent instead, since it's their own worst map probably. So that could be what you see, but I'm gonna assume that it's gonna be like this. For Sentinels, I mean, they could either ban out Lotus or Sunset, since yeah, this difference doesn't really mean anything. And yeah, it's essentially a 50-50 on both maps. So it doesn't really matter which they ban. Let's just say, for the sake of not having Sunset in this time, let's say Sen are gonna ban it. Oh, made a mistake here. It's Wolves, obviously. So the first map that will be picked is then probably Ascent by Sentinels, if Wolves haven't banned that one. If Wolves banned Ascent, it's gonna be Pearl picked by Sentinels. Then Wolves are probably gonna pick the map remaining between Lotus or Sunset, whichever map Sentinels don't ban. That map will be picked by the Wolves, which will be a 50-50. So we might see a quick 2-0 by Sen, but in the case that we don't see it, we continue with the map ban. We're probably gonna see Wolves ban Split then, which is another great map for Sentinels and a bad map for Wolves. And then Sen are probably gonna ban Icebox, since they would be much more confident on Haven, which would be a map that they will win as well. So Sen, I'm fairly certain, is gonna win against Wolves. So the last map that is already confirmed is Genji against MIBR. Now when we look at this, it looks like Genji are heavy favorites, which I do think matches what we've seen from them in stage 1, that they should be winning against MIBR. But let's look at the map vetoes. MIBR are probably gonna ban Lotus, since it's their own worst map and it's Genji's best map. That's just a gimme for them to ban that one. Genji are probably gonna ban Icebox. It's MIBR's best map, so it just makes the most sense to ban this one. They could also ban out Split, since it's probably the worst map that or Ascent, and it's a map where MIBR might have a shot, unlike Ascent. So might be that Genji opts to ban that one, but I'm gonna assume that they are gonna ban Icebox. So one of the two maps being picked, it's probably gonna be Ascent by Genji. They are favorites on this map, even though it's not a great map for them. It's a really bad map for MIBR. It's their second worst map. So Genji should pick that map and not be worried about it not being too big good of a map for themselves. They should still just pick it and are probably gonna win it. MIBR should then pick Split. It's the worst map for Split, either that or Sand. And yeah, it's a map where they are better on than Genji, so they should pick that so they win their map. But it's obviously a funny situation, since in this case we would have Genji's two worst maps being played. So kind of the map veto is really funny, how it is between Genji and MIBR. That MIBR is kind of really good on the maps that Genji is also good at, or is really bad at it in the case of Lotus, where they will ban it probably. So we kind of get Genji picking maps that they wouldn't be super confident in, or would be playing maps that they wouldn't be the most confident in out of their own map pool, but would be the best maps to play against MIBR. So the next round of map bans would see MIBR banning out Pearl. That's the map that there's the biggest difference, that Genji would be the most favored in compared to them. And Genji would probably ban out Sunset, since it's a 50-50 map. Not great, you don't want to see that. Don't know how much they've prepped, obviously. Maybe they've prepped it a lot. And then like this, Haven would be the last map that is over, which is a map that both teams are good at, that both teams are confident in. So it might be a really, really close match, Genji against MIBR. But I'm gonna say Genji's gonna win it, just because there is a lot of room for MIBR to mess up their map veto, and then as you can see, Genji is just favored and probably gonna win. So I'm picking Genji as my winner for that last game. So this is what my Pickems would look like, and I wish you guys luck in your Pickems, and I hope we're gonna have a banging Masters Toronto, and I'll see you guys next time.